welcome to another episode of Recapping with Cam, or if it's your first episode, then it means it's your only episode. So welcome to your only episode. Hopefully not. Hopefully you make the decision to continue after this one. If you don't, then I put all responsibility on the guest of today's podcast. So if you choose after listening to this to never listen again, and then if you tell me in person I won't be listening again, I'm going to say, well, you must have listened to the Ryan episode. I have been watching reality TV again. I haven't watched heaps of reality TV. I think I've watched probably 10 minutes all up of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which is the biggest mistake that I've ever made. No, it's the biggest reality show of all time, right? I've watched Jersey Shore. I think I've watched all of that, and I was really absorbed by that. I loved it. There was an episode where Mike, who also goes by the nickname The Situation, head-butted a wall, and the force of that knocked him onto his own back. And I remember I thought about that for way too long afterwards. For me, it was the moment where I was like, I don't know what's real in this show anymore. Like up till that point, I was fully absorbed. I was like, okay, these guys, this is reality. And then when he did that, I was like, okay, now I'm questioning things. The thing that I've enjoyed about reality TV in the past is that there's often tension. So there'll be like a baddie. Sometimes you just want somebody who, out of boredom, sparks a fire. And one of my best friends does this constantly. He does it face to face, and he does it on the internet. When I first met him, I came to a house party. It was at his house. He opened the door. I was with a group of people. These people he was friends with already, and they were like, Ryan, this is Cam. And without saying anything, he ran his fingertips from the top of my forehead, down my nose, over my lips, and to my chin. We were both just looking at each other for this experience. I didn't really react or say anything. I just allowed it to happen. And once his fingertips reached my chin, he nodded and said, okay.
No, good. Just got back we got back yesterday from camping.
Mm-hmm.
We were dirty and tired, and now we're just cleaned, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I saw some videos and photos. It looked relaxing. But yeah, the river did look like if you came out of it, you'd want to have a shower. Hey, Caro.
Yeah. Well, and there was no showers around, so that was the shower. And there was about, depending on where you were in the river, probably about between, like, I guess, fuck me boot length of just straight like mud, like silty mud, like river moose.
If there was no water on top of the mud and you just like let your body relax right into the mud would go up to like the most raunchy area of the thigh.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to cover before we dive properly into this? You don't want to talk about?
Have you got stuff on me?
Nah, not at all. Like I'm keeping it pretty loose. Like I'm just gonna chat to you about what you've been thinking about. Imagine if your intervention happens.
Yeah.
Well, you said you didn't want to not talk about this.
All right. Well, yeah. I don't want to talk about the little bits of seal that cover, like drinks, juice bottles, milks, things like that. There's a lid on them in the seal. I don't want to talk about the seal part.
That's fine. Yeah. Do you feel triggered when that comes up?
Oh, it's the more you talk about it, the more airtime the most useless thing in the world is getting.
Have you been thinking about different stuff over the holidays than you did before it was the holidays?
Yeah. No, my brain's been, I think it's gone from just being dicked all year to not knowing, sort of, to the point where last year was so quick and so long altogether. It just was so messed up that getting some time away, anytime I've been away, it was just so relaxing. But also I've given, maybe because everyone else's brains are probably feeling that way, I think I've been a little bit more measured in the way I respond to things, I think.
Yeah.
Which is why I text you that idea for a thing called I don't want to talk about such and such, where stuff happens to me and I think about it for ages, and I'll give you my initial response, and then I think about it some more, and then what I should have done.
You stew on it.
Yeah, it's a good old stew. It's a social stew.
I'm going to read out the text that you sent me, which I realized when I asked you to come on this that I have never replied to. So let's consider this this conversation as my reply. But Ryan sent me this text on the 2nd of December and said, "What do you think of this idea? It's called I don't want to talk about ... And it's times when I've been curb your enthusiasm level annoyed at things. I stew over them for a week or however long it takes to process everything that's taken place. And then I explain the story to someone with the purpose of them then interrogating me on how and why it was handled the way that it was and whether it was handled the right way." Have you got anything like that at the moment?
Yeah. It's come direct from a direct thing that happened to me. So probably on December 2nd, there was an Aldi supermarket has opened up in Fitzroy. It was really good. It was something that was on the horizon during the months and months of lockdown down here. I was like, this is going to be great. Get what you need, and things that you didn't even know you did need. So we've gone along for the grand opening, and it's opening at 8:30. So we've gone and got our coffee first in the morning, and then wandered down there pretty much spot on 8:30. There's a line of about a dozen people outside. Get in the line, doors open, walk in. Oh, this is cool, brand new Aldi. And then as I'm in there, as I've gotten in there, we're like sort of like last to get in there, I've seen, there's no one at the counter. Thought, you know what would be quite funny, quite cool. I'll be the first customer to ever buy something here.
Exciting.
So I've gone in there. There's obviously been another dude in there who's gone along with the sole purpose for that, because he's seen me right at the counter, and I've just thrown a Chupa Chup down to the guy, and I'm about to get the Chupa Chup, and he's just come screaming along, "God, first purchase," and thrown a 2-litre chocolate milk like past me, and they've got the COVID screens up, and I'm all bailed up like this, and I'm like, no social distance.
Intercepted with a bottle of milk, is that right?
He crashed and put his arms all over me. And threw it down there, and the guys picked up his milk and is processing it first, and I'm like, what? So I grab it and I throw it down down the long, they've got the long conveyor belts.
Moved your Chupa Chup to place,
put it there, and then he's gone to do it again, and I'm just like, you know what, fuck this. And then there's the manager of the stores there, and he's got a camera, and he goes, I want to get the photo of the first customer, and feel free to recreate that tussle. And I was like, nah, get out of here. So I walked out, and we might have been 15th customer. We bought some Christmas lights and I think some milk.
We're not going to deal with second place.
No. Look, I was like, what it felt to me was like, oh yeah, we might go past when we can go in Ubers and go out again. I'll be going from maybe to like, you know, Old Bar or something, and we'll go past that Aldi, like, I'm the first person that ever put money across a counter in there, and that's like the extent of what it would probably be. And then I was like, that's not worth it. It's not worth it. And there's this crazy guy in the middle of a pandemic, arms all over me, no social distancing, and then a supermarket manager wanting me to recreate a gross thing.
So touching the stranger again, just for the camera.
So I was quite. I was going home and I was fuming that there's crazy person's gone all over me, in that they wanted to recreate it. So I've gone home and I've written an email. You can't find their email anywhere, so you've got to use their contact form. So I
strongly worded email.
I just said, look, there is a pandemic. I know you're not responsible for that guy's behavior, but your manager should not be getting people to recreate examples of poor social distancing when there's during a pandemic. So I was like, sent that through, and I felt like a dick for, you know, complaining about this weird little thing. but I was so mad. And then afterwards, I was thinking about all the things I could do.
Yeah, and what did you come up with?
The best thing would have been like just to pay for his chocolate milk.
Yeah. I'll get that, bro.
Don't worry, man.
If I was to see this guy and not know this backstory, would I be able to guess just from, I guess it's a really judgmental question, but from just seeing what this guy looks like and dresses like and how he walks and how he moves, does he seem like the sort of dude who would do that, who would tussle during a pandemic and rub his arms up and down you? Like, would I look at that guy and be like, that's the kind of guy that would do that?
I don't, here's the other thing. I could pass him in the street and don't know what he looks like. I didn't spend a lot of time looking at him. I was sort of coward and he had his arms over me. And then he did have a mask on as well.
Oh, wow.
And so there wasn't a lot I could do. There wasn't a lot of pointers. If you had a lineup of everyone was in the store and got them all to go first purchase, I'd be able to be like, yeah, that's the guy. Because I still hear that. It still rings in my ears when I wake up in the middle of the night sweating.
Yeah, man. Oh, full on. Well, I think that even though you might be like, oh, I'm a bit of a dick for sending a strongly worded email, of all of the things that you could have done, I feel like that's the most adult. Like, I feel like that's the most balanced. Like, it's better that than you like wrestling the guy or getting in the face of the manager at the time. Like, at least you waited a bit. Like, I don't know if there's any.
I sent a email at about 10 a.m. because I couldn't work. Got home, I couldn't work. I was fuming. I was quite mad.
Yeah,
I was getting snarky at lots of things. I was like, I needed to sort this out. And then once I'd sent it, I was like, oh, you're a bit of a dick to me. But yeah.
Did it help?
Nah, because I sent it to. I was like, Cara, this is what I've done to get over my anger. And then so she's brought it up at every social gathering, and like you can't put a subject on the thing. And so I went to send the email to Cara, just be like, oh, this is what I sent to Aldi about their manager. But I wrote it like I think I called it like annoyed Aldi manager and a crazy man. And she thought that Aldi got that email, and I was like, no, I just had to send the email because it says, do you want to send an email that put a subject on it? So I did. But yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those ones where.
Yeah, man. Are you comfortable? Every time I name these episodes, yes, you're currently comfortable. Every time I name these episodes, I do like Charlie the drummer or Ash who had COVID-19. Would you feel it would be?
You're gonna call me the social justice warrior?
I was going to call you the internet troll.
Yeah, right.
Would you consider yourself an internet troll, or have you ever been at any points in your life?
Massively. Like I have an issue with it. I'm not currently on Facebook because of how much I've done during this pandemic.
Oh, you got real busy over this period.
Yeah.
About a year ago, you weren't banned, I don't think, from Facebook, but you chose to take, I guess, a leave of absence for a little while because that guy said like your neighborhood, or like he sent you your own address to basically say, I know where you live.
Yeah.
What had you said to him to make him threaten you or tell you your own address?
Oh, I'll probably call him a dumb shit, something like that. Just like, or maybe stronger words than that. But obviously been right, but quite pompous in telling him how right I was. Yeah. Because that's when you can be the most. You've been arguing with people, and then you drop some definitive proof, and then I only get in this because you've got some fucking nars inside your body that you need to get out, and I just to have a few more nars than other people, you know. And nars, I told you so, but it's the way that you're there. I told you so. What was that, sorry?
That's the medical word for it.
Yeah, it's the Latin. It's it's the Latin terminology for it.
What's the title of your Wiggles YouTube video?
Greg Wiggle. I think it's Greg Page deserves a punch in the face or something like that.
Yeah.
Yellow Greg I think it's Greg Wiggle deserves a punch in the face.
Yeah. And for anyone that isn't up to date with the Wiggles, is he the one that was sick for a while?
He was the one that went into cardiac arrest on stage.
so, so even when you branched away from kind of in the thick of it trolling, where you're basically fisticuffs with other people, you went away and created what was a really well put together long form video, which still basically had the same purpose of winding up a community really badly.
Yeah, kicking the Wiggles nest is quite funny. It's quite funny. They have got a lot of very, very dedicated fans all over the world.
And from what
Which
I
is
saw, most of the people that were angry about this video that you made, Greg Wiggle deserves a punch in the face. Most of them were the parents. There didn't seem to be any, and correct me if I'm wrong, were there any kids, like teens or like people more appropriate to be Wiggles fans? Were they all the parents of Wiggles fans?
it seemed to be either Wiggles fans that had gotten a bit older, or parents, or it wasn't the best one to do, to be honest. But so let's put some premise behind it. Like there was people were doing 10 albums that shaped my life in 10 days, just album cover, don't need to say anything about them. And
Facebook, like people were just publishing from their own personal profiles, right?
Yeah. And so I was like, and at the start I thought that was great, and I started going down these album wormholes and things like that. It was great to see, but everyone kept tagging. If you did one and people tagged you, then you kept notifications. Things just there's a lot on your plate. You don't need to hear about everyone's bloody albums.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to see 10 unlikely people that deserve a punch in the face. And it got to the point, I think Greg Wiggle was the last one, just because of the work involved in trying to find ways to justify punching the heart attack Wiggle in the face.
Such a wholesome guy, like from every angle. What a mission.
Yeah, it was tricky. It was tricky, and I'll be honest, I had to massage facts to fit a narrative that was already there. You know what I mean? Like I created the narrative and had to find facts to fit it. So it was not factual, but it was fun.
Can I play a little bit of it now?
Yeah, of course.
Give people a little taste. So I've typed in
Yeah.
why Greg Wiggle deserves a punch in the face. Should I? And then what's your YouTube name?
It'll be under, I think, just Ryan Feeds, maybe.
Right, let's talk about Greg. Now, in order to, I guess, validate my selection of punching Greg, one of the founding members of the Wiggles, the original Yellow Wiggle. Look, a lot of you might be shocked that I've chosen the Wiggle that had a heart attack on stage. Fucking hell. But anyway, in order to evaluate my decision, I thought we would need to actually go back and look at a little bit of the background of the Wiggles and the history of Greg's career. Let's look at the period from when the Wiggles formed in 1991 right through to when Greg retired for the first time in 2006. Like, he actually finished playing with the Wiggles in 2005 after a hernia operation. Now, I've had a hernia operation and I was playing in a band at the time. I think it was 3 to 4 weeks off before I took the stage again. Now, Greg took off a year and then announced his retirement due to health concerns. Look, there are reports that it was another health factor, like some sort of weird chronic illness, and that wasn't life-threatening or anything like that. You could quite easily say that it was well-timed. Greg maybe was a bit tired of being in the Wiggles. He was already rich. So in 2005, the Wiggles were formally...
Okay, I think people can't get the idea. Did anybody that's close to you not understand that was a joke when you published it?
No, everyone sort of knew it was a joke, but then you've got people, hi Will, who is still a Wiggles fan. He bought a guitar that the Wiggles used because he really into the Wiggles, and he knew a lot of facts straight up. And he goes, "That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong."
So Will, he's our friend. Is he 31? Maybe 33 even.
Yes, he's in this. He's young. He's 30. 30.
Yeah.
30
Okay. Yeah.
ish.
He's got a Wiggles guitar, and he knew you were joking, but what was his response?
He told me how wrong I was, but it was just before my birthday, and he got Greg to do a cameo video for me.
I didn't know this.
Greg, he sent a message to Greg saying, my friend Ryan is quite autistic, but he's just taken up boxing classes for confidence because he didn't know how else to say. He wanted to punch you in the face. And so Greg came back and did a little shout out and a few bars of Toot Toot Chugga Chugga Big Red Car, I think was the song.
Oh, man, that is so good. I didn't realize Will did that. Good work, Will.
It was very good. It was a very good one. So that was that kind of, yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, he'd be the only one that was quite actively campaigning against Greg.
Yeah. And it sounds like it was actually more from a fact check perspective rather than a like offense perspective.
Yeah, yep. I was InfoWars and he was probably Young Turks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that one. But yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I love you, man. You're a good friend, and it was a treat having you on.
Love you, dude. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
there's the other cat there. It's Gravy.
Hey, Gravy.